So Bria is the company. My name is Yair. Thank you very much. Bria is actually the Hebrew word of generation. And in this few minutes, I will talk about how to make the generative AI more accessible to corporate, to business. So as I said, my name is Yair. I'm the founder and the CEO of Bria. I have a PhD in computer science, and I'm doing computer vision in the last 20 years. I also have two girls, twin, which I always said that. Technology in general is about automation. How to create something faster and more automated. It was always the story of automation. And for generative AI, the automation is for something very fundamental in the way we think about our life. It's about data. So why this revolution is so big is because we automate the process of creating data. If you think about data along the history and the big revolution around data, it started with writing somewhere 18,000 years ago, where you can take the data and share it with someone else, moving to printing press, how to automate the copy of the data. Internet, of course, was the next revolution, distribution of the data. And we are in a new era now, in the era of generating data, from all kind of data. And this is a huge revolution. But with this huge revolution should come also great responsibility. And what I want to talk a little bit about today is about how to do that in a responsible way. So to be responsible, I stole a slide from Microsoft. And this is how Microsoft define ethical AI. It's around respecting privacy and security, inclusive, safety, and fairness and bias. And I would add also data ownership, transparency of this element, and how to take accountability of what you are building. And if I need to say what is responsible AI in one word, I would say accountability. Now, I don't really a big fan of using the ethical AI because it's very judgmental, and this is why I prefer to use responsible AI. And what I want to discuss in the next 10 minutes is how we approach responsible AI in Bria, and to suggest a framework for responsible AI, which maybe help others. So we're actually talking about how to bridge generative AI technology for commercial use at scale with the society or with the commercial element of that. Now, some of you might think that it's not that important. What is important is that we have great algorithm that can generate text and image and movie. But actually, I think that it's a huge risk that prevent adoption of this technology, either because of copyright ownership, trademark, deepfake, influence about society, and you see the lawsuit all over the place in the last 2 years. If you don't want to go on the risk element of that, regulation, upcoming regulation is here. For example, the AI Act in Europe. So we have a problem here that we need to address. How to continue to innovate with this huge revolution, at the same time to do that in a responsible way. So what are the challenges? The first challenges are the legal risk of that. The second, which is something which I think a little bit underlook, is the accessibility of this technology. If we will end up that only few companies in the world will have access to the source code and direct access to this technology, it will be a problem. It will be the hard problem for innovation. And the last element is how to do that in a way that it's responsible. So I split the responsible, then the legal. Legal will be risk, and responsible will be fairness, bias, deepfake, etc. What we are doing today, in general, we build something, and then we try to fix it. So we train GTP, we train text to image, we train something, and then we say, oh, there is some issue here, let's try to fix it. But it will always be hard to fix it after you build it. And even if you will try to do something post-generation, like Adobe is doing, for example, in exclusive, you will end up with unexpected challenges, for example, the black nazis that Google Gemini just present. So we suggest a different approach for responsible AI. We suggest to have responsible AI by design. When you're doing the go-to-market, when you're doing the design review, when you're thinking of the product, the same as you think about scale and security and good architecture, think of the element of responsible as part of your designing process. It can be on the feature level, it can be on the company level, on the startup level, but take this element the same as you take the other elements like privacy. So if you think about a Gen AI process, first you need to collect the data, and here you need to ask a question like, where the data came from? Do I have the right to use it? Do it pose problem of deepfake or other elements? When you train the model, think if the model are safe, if it support fairness and bias. And when you generate, think if this generation put you at risk. More specifically, what we did with Bria to overcome the data ownership problem, we actually did something very simple that you're familiar with. We did Spotify. What do I mean by we did Spotify? The same like in the music streaming industry 20 years ago, started with Pirate Bay and Napster, and then there was iTunes that tried to buy the music, and it's turned up not the right economic solution. And then comes Spotify, which license the music, the content per use. We did the same with generative AI. We develop an attribution engine, and every time that we generate an image, we know how to trace back in the training set which are the data that impact the most the generation, and we reward this data owner. Now, this is not an algorithm problem, and this is not a research problem. It's exactly the bridge between technology and economic. So we have a valid business model with the data owner. So if we generate this visual to the left, we will reward 73 different data owners in our training set from different data providers. And if we generate the unicorn and the chocolate cake, it will be a different number of data owners from different repositories. With this attribution layer, we have agreement with more than 20 different image stock providers, including Getty Images, Deposit Photo, Alamy, Envato, and others. They gave us all of their catalog for the training. We train the models from scratch, and when someone generates something, we know how to reward it. This model has to be proved to be fair for the data owners. It's safe because there's no privacy issue, there's no copyright issue, there's no trademarks, there's no famous people, so it's safe to use. It's safe by design. It's not that we need to have post-prompt safety or gating. The model never saw famous people, so you cannot generate a famous people. And with this approach, we are going to do the same for video, music, audio, 3D, etc. So the benefit of that is that we don't have any problem of copyright infringement, we don't have any problem of privacy, and we don't have a public figures in the training set or in the output we generate. We are doing one more thing. The model is available for developers. We give full access to the source code and weights. So companies can now develop their own competitive edge using this technology. So it's open source in the sense that you can have access to all of the model. It's not free. This is the model. We will license the data for you. We already have around 20 different models in a Hugging Face, from text to image to control nets to other, and we will present 3D and video later this year. I think that I will stop here. In this QR code, you can find a white paper we wrote about how to benchmark in different type of text-to-image platform. with the different criteria. We take 6 different criteria: photorealism, aesthetic, safety, responsible AI, and compliance, and other. And we had a blind test with 10,000 impressions of designer. So it's very insightful white paper. I have it here. So I encourage you to take a look. And thank you again for listening to me.